Welcome to another Fix It Yourself video. So our lawnmower pull cord just snapped and we're going to have to look at replacing that. Went to Canadian Tire and just purchased a new cord. So the new pull cord just looks like that. It's just a standard pull cord, and we'll see if we can't take this apart and figure out how to put that new pull cord, put it back on the handle here, and then hook it up to our mower so we can get this thing started. So the first thing we'll do is we'll try to take this cover off. We'll get the cover off of this. Inspect that. Let's see where this has to come off now. There's a couple of screws in here. I don't know if you can see them. These are Phillips head. So we'll try taking this off. That's one. And there's another one here. Maybe that's what we need to do. Yep, it looks like that's now taking it off. Yeah, so basically here you can see there's a Phillips head there and a Phillips head there. There's two screws, one there and one there. This whole cover comes off like that. So now we have to figure out how to take this whole assembly here, and it looks like we have those look like either Allen key or Torx. So I'll have to get a different tool. Just bear with me while I get it. Okay, so after bringing an Allen key, we discovered that these are actually riveted on. So I don't think there's any way to get those off without damaging them. So what I'm going to try to do is see if I can't get this housing off and see if that comes off, part of it. Or whether the whole thing comes off from down here. So I've had to get a 10mm socket. I'm going to put that on and try to get that off. We've moved into the shed here because it's getting dark outside. Pop that off, pop that off. I might have to get that one off too. I don't know if you can see that. Taking these two off, and I don't know if there's any more on that side. This is kind of, this looks to be all that there is there. Okay, we don't have to take that big one off now. It's being held somewhere else, so, but where? But where? So we'll probably have to take this cover off. So let's see if I can't get that cover off. Again, those are probably the smaller ones. Yeah, that should do it. Take this plastic cover off, and then we'll see if maybe we'll access another bolt on the back. So I'm taking off 1, 2, 3 to remove this plastic cover off. So that's one. That's the second. This is the third. That should allow us to take this off. Yeah, so there's something is stuck here. Okay, there's a bolt in the back here. How to access that? Have to figure out how to access that bolt in the back here. It's probably the other side. So I'll need an extension. Put an extension on. Hopefully that's the same size. Hopefully it wouldn't put a different size here. It looks to me that it is. So I'm taking that off now. It should be loose. Okay, so that's what came off the back side there. I don't know if you could see that. Of course not, you couldn't see it. Now that seems to have taken that part off. Okay, that looked like to be like a washer. Spacer. Yeah, there's a spacer. So when you pull this off, be careful. There's this little spacer over here. That spacer goes in between this and the body here. So we'll put that aside for now. Put that with that. And so now there is another 2 bolts here, you see? So let's see if you can see them. One there and one there. So we'll take those off. This is an awful lot of work just to get to the stupid pull cord. Okay, so that's those 2. So now let's see what happens here. Of course, I gotta remove. So this oil thingamabobby here is connected to that, and it won't come off. So let me take off the 1 bolt there. So that's the smaller diameter size. That one is an 8mm. So I'm using an 8mm and a 10mm. So that's an 8mm. Take that off. Here's my 8mm. That aside here. Okay. There we go. So that's how that comes off. Just kind of pulls right off. Now does that guy come right off? Look at that. Of course that's magnetic here. So there's the so now the pull cord is in here. You can see here. See the pull cord where it got snapped in? So that part has to come off of there. We're going to probably have to remove that to get to that. Okay, so I couldn't pull this cord out, so it's obviously probably wrapped around in here, and that's probably why. So I think I have to take this off. Take this using an 8mm screw here, or 8mm socket. There we go. So that comes off. That comes off. And put that down there. And then carefully pull that out. Okay, there's your spring there. That's the coiling spring. So it looks like it's in good shape. So yes, and there's a little clip on the bottom here. You cannot see it because it's dirty. Down at the bottom here, there's a little thing that clips onto that part of the spring, so it catches it and then it'll start to coil. So now here we can see where my rope, the pull cord, got jammed. There it is. So we'll pull that guy out. There it is. Now this should come out. And of course it does. Let me get my pull cord out. The rest of it. Carefully. There we go. Okay, so that cord has come out, and I guess I can take this part of the cord and then the other half, and that'll give me a gauge of how long it needs to be. So that's snapped right there. So I can measure that cord with the new cord and wrap that around the same way. Put that all back together and we should be okay. Let's see now if we can do that. Take this cord out. Hopefully this is long enough, or as long as the other one. Okay, so I'll take my new cord. This is not good. I can see right now that this is definitely not long enough. This is not long enough by a country mile. And what's going to happen here is I'm going to end up with a cord that's not long enough. So I'm going to have to go back to the store, purchase a longer rope, and yeah, hopefully we can find one at Home Depot, because Canadian Tire, that's the only one I could find. So that's unfortunate. We'll have to do this another time. Bear with us while we finish this up. So went to Home Depot and purchased a new pull cord. There's the old pull cord. And they didn't have actually any pull cords in stock. I went to 3 different Home Depots. I guess it's a common problem right now. Lots of people are snapping their pull cords. So there wasn't many in stock. Canadian Tire only had, like I said, that one that was short. So here we are now. They were kind enough to go and get me a cord that's like a pull cord. So this should do the job. So they've cut me a length that should be long enough. And so my intention now is to just measure this up and put it in place. So what I've also done is I've taken the time to take some brake cleaner. Just use some brake cleaner, and I went through and first I brushed it all the dirt, dust off, and then I used the brake cleaner to clean everything off, clean all the parts off. And also something I think is probably a good idea is see where it's got some rust over here. I'm going to just kind of lightly sand that so we get some good contact, because this is what is when it turns, it creates the spark or the spark plug. So I'm just going to kind of lightly sand that so we get nice and clean surface, and then I'll use the brake cleaner again to clean that off. Since we've got this all open here, it's not a bad idea to do this now. So I'm going to just kind of lightly sand that. Get it nice and clean. And then I just take some brake cleaner and clean it all up again. You can see this works really nice. That's it. Just get my parts all nice and clean there. Beautiful. Okay, that'll just kind of evaporate, dry on its own. And maybe I should also give that a little clean as well. I was showing you this the other night. It's hard to see here. Maybe if I take a brush and I clean this. Inside here, there is a clip, you see. I'll try to get it up close here. You see that little metal clip right there that sticks out? Right where I got the point there. So that little clip there is what, when you, this part of the, there's a spring assembly, so that little part in there catches the clip and is what actually causes the spring to catch. The spring does look like it's in good shape, so I will leave it alone. Maybe I'll blast a little cleaner in there. And a little brush there. There, that's it. It doesn't look like they had any lubricant in there, so I won't put it. This does get quite dirty, the whole lawnmower, of course, with all the dust from when you cut the grass. So I think it's probably best to just leave it the way it was. Didn't look like they had any lubrication in there. So that's the thing, is now trying to get this back in here in such a way that it catches the, it seems to be catching. Yeah, it's catching. I can feel it springing there now. See how it goes? So that's how we got to put it back together. And then once we put the rope in there, we'll tie it, and then we'll coil up the rope such that we get a nice, you know, wound up nice. Okay, so let's try to put this all back together now. I'll cut the rope, measure out and cut the rope, and then we'll put that all in place, okay? Bear with me while we measure this up. So I've laid out the old rope, the old pull cord, and I got the new pull cord next to it. I'm measuring 6 feet here, pretty much more or less. So I'm going to cut the new pull cord at 6 feet. So let's do that. I'll find myself, see if this works. Either a knife will cut it, or maybe a pair of just pliers will do it. So probably cut that right about there. I can see where it's going. I've got that laid out even. There, not there. So right about there. Just give myself a bit more, and I can always, I'll just give myself a little bit more. This way I can always pull out a little bit more when I need to, and then cut it to whatever length I want, and then that should be just fine. Okay, so I've got the cord prepared. I've cleaned all that up. Now it's basically time to reassemble this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put one end of the pull cord through the we'll call this the rotor with the spring on it. This end is kind of hard. This end is a bit frayed, so what I do is I take a lighter, because this is like a nylon rope, take a lighter and kind of just warm that up a bit, and then that should help to get it a little bit more so that it can get inside the hole, because otherwise it doesn't want to. Sorry. Hopefully that will work now. There, that helps to get it so that I can get it in. So there's my hole. I'll stick that in there. There, you see how easy that was? I tried to get it in there, wouldn't go with the being all frayed like that. I'll give it just a quick knot, because that's how the other one was. And if it worked before, it'll work again. Give that a knot, twist it. Pretty good like that. Doesn't come off. And there you go. So, with that on, now I'm going to twist this around. And I tried it this way, like this, but then it wouldn't work. So the reason I'm doing this is I'm showing you that doing it this way, it's going to be very difficult, and it's going to be hard to make it work. Because I couldn't get this in there and then provide enough tension on the spring. So what we have to do is another method. I figured out another method. And that is to take this rope out. I know we just put it in, but I'll take the rope out. And the first thing we're going to do is we could have just measured how many times this goes around, right? I measured this. Put that back in again one more time. Sorry. Should have measured how many times it went around. Okay, so there's one time around. That's 2 times around. 3 times around, 4 times around, and almost 5 times around. So we're going to need to turn this guy on there without the rope 5 times around, plus a little bit more to give it some extra tension. And then we're going to hold it in place with a screwdriver. I'll show you how to do that. Then we'll fish the rope through, we'll tie the knot, and then on the other end we'll tie another knot, we'll put it through and we'll tie the knot on the other end. Okay, you'll see why we have to do this, because that's to provide enough tension on this this device here. Okay, so we'll take the rope out. We're going to put this in here, and again, you see where is that little piece that sticks out there? That's got to catch onto that. So I'll kind of line that up, which is there, right over top of it. Try to get it inside there. I'll get it to line up there. I see it's on. So now I gotta go the other way. There, you see it's starting to catch there. So starting from there, I'm gonna count 5 turns, we said, right? So now that we put the cord on and we measured, we gotta go around 5 times. We're gonna put this wheel without the cord installed. We gotta put this wheel back on here and put the tension on this, okay? We're gonna turn it at least 5 times, maybe even 6 or 6.5 times. So that little on the spring, this part of the spring here is gonna have to catch that little nib over there. All right, so we have to line that up. Let me see how that goes. Get it inside there. There, you see? And then you can see we're getting some tension. Now the next little tricky thing is, you see these little 2 flaps that come out? They got like a little extensions on the end here. Those little extensions have to ride inside this little track here. So there's a little track in here and a little track in here. And those little tracks, we got to install those so those tracks are on, which is kind of tricky, but if you just orient it right, you can catch them. I think the best way is to just put them like that and then line this up so you can feel it. You'll feel it, you see? So once they're in, you'll see I turn this, and by turning that, you see the flaps come out? As long as both flaps are coming out, there, you see? I'm turning it, and both flaps are coming out. So that's and then once that's in place like that, then we should be able to tighten this. So I'll take my 8mm wrench or socket, and I'll tighten that on. Now that we've got this on tight here, it's fairly tight, and I don't know if this is, yeah, it still moves. So that's what you want. It's on tight enough, so that's on tight. And you see, these things are supposed to work like this. Pulling the pull cord will extend these white flaps. The white flaps then engage into the rotor, which allows you to turn the mower rotor, and it starts the mower. So it's very important that this operation is put back in place so that you can make this work properly. Okay, so this is very important. Remember, okay, so how does this go on? It goes on like this. That means we're pulling the cord this way. That means if you pull the cord that way, it's going to turn like that direction, which is, it is for me, it is in my view of it, it's counterclockwise. So we're going to put this here, and we're going to start. I can see where the hole is there. There's the hole. That's the hole for the cord to come through, and that's the hole for the cord to come through on, and that's where the tension starts. So let's say we start here, and we're going to go around at least 5 times. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to go with my finger here. I'm going to go around, that's 1, that's 2, it's getting a bit harder now. That's 3. That's 4. We're going to go 5, and then you said we're going to go a bit more to give it some added tension. That's 5. Now we're going to go one more time around, just a 6. That gives it that added tension. Okay? Maybe even a bit more. I say we go to 6, 6.5. Okay. Well, you know what? You got to go almost a full turn, so I'm going to go to say 6. That's pretty good right there. So right about, say there. So I got to find that hole, which is right over. Oops. It's going to spin on me. Okay, the hole is over here, so I got to go around to there. There we go. So that's my 6 times or 7 times, I'm not sure, I forget now. So we go to there, And I put this screwdriver in here to hold it in place, okay, right in the spot where I want it. So that should hold it in place. Let's put that there. There, you see that? So now the trick is going to be getting that rope in there. So let's, oh, I can go this way, I guess. Well, maybe I can go from the other side. We can go this way. That might be easier, yeah. Let's try that. And it's not, because my rope here is not good enough. Let's try the other way. So I'll fish the rope through here. Remember, with putting the heat on that with the lighter, that allowed me to, so put that in there. I can fish that in there and see it's come right through nice and easy. So that was definitely easier. Now I'm going to put that knot on here, just a single knot. And tie that so it's nice and tight. Just like that. Pull that back here. So now, with the tension that we've added, you can take this out. With the tension that we've added, this is going to coil back in as if, you know, it'll just coil back in itself. See how that's working? Just as if like you pulled it and it wants to pull itself back in. Now be careful, because it still has some tension and we don't want it to go all the way in. So I want this to come, I'm going to hang on to this, actually put this screwdriver in here so that it doesn't go any further than that. There, that's good. That'll give me enough to get this rope. So I've got to get that rope out of here. And I'll need a needle nose plier or something to grab it out of there because it's in there pretty good. So unless I can fish it with something, I don't think so. Let's see if I can get this, push it through here. It's not pushing through, it's been in there for so long. I think I'm going to need like a needle nose plier to grab that. So I'm going to run and grab a needle nose plier. I'll be right back. Okay, so I got my needle nose plier. And we'll grab that rope there. There we go. So take that end out. That's clean. Now we're going to need to fish this through here. So yeah, see if I can give it a bit of a turn. Put it along. Doesn't want to go. Okay, so I got a piece of wire, and what I'm going to try now is just going to try to put a little. I put a bit of a. Hang on here. Just going to try to fish the wire through the rope. There. I got the wire now through the rope. See? So that's on. I'm just going to kind of crimp it here. Crimp it down. And then I'll use this to fish through. So I think what I got to do is put a little bit of a turn on this. Because it's hard for you to see what's going on in there, but basically they designed this in a way that there's like only a little. There's a blocking thing here. The rope gets in, gets blocked, and it doesn't want to turn. So I got to make that turn with this somehow. If it's even going to work here, this is ridiculous. Now we're going to try to fish this through. So what I've done here is, because of that little, it's hard to see, but I'll try to put it close in there. You see? I don't know if you can see. It's got like a little tab in there, so I'm going to bend this a bit so I can try to work my way around that and push it. There we go. So now I can push it out. It's coming. Pliers on the okay, so now hopefully now I can fish this through. There we go. So a little bit of muscle and it came through. So now I'll just put a knot on the end of this, and as I said before, we can always, if we find that we want it to be a bit shorter, we can always pull some, cut it, and put it shorter. But for now, I think this will do. Let's put that back in there. Let's pull that, and then you see, here you see we've got our pull cord back on. So now it's just a matter of reassembling everything on here. Again, I think I'll just give this maybe one last spray with the brake cleaner, and then we'll put this all back on. So I'll walk you through this step by step as we start to put all the bolts back on, and which bolts, because maybe when we took it off it wasn't as clear which bolts go where. Okay, so it's a bit of a process, so let's get started on that. Actually, this is the wrong way. Let's go the other way. Okay, so we'll get started on that right now. Get all the stuff put together. We have everything in the back over there, all the bolts. So we'll do that now. Okay, so I just want to kind of just take you around the mower here to show you. So there's all the hardware, all the bolts that we need to reassemble. And there was this one here that when I took it off, I told you there was a bit of a spacer. And so this guy here, it holds this gas tank assembly. And it's hard to see it, but it's right onto that where my finger is there. So what I've done is I've assembled this on, even though it's not supposed to go on yet. That piece has to go on first. But I put this on just so you can see where that spacer goes. You see where that spacer is? It's right there where my finger is. So that spacer went in there, and I just kind of put it in there loosely. There, right there, you see? That's the spacer. I put that in loosely. I'll take it off now, and then when I assemble it, that's what I'm going to be putting back when I say I put the spacer in that spot. And you'll see it right there. That bolt goes in, but the spacer is in between the plastic and the metal. So I'll take this apart. We'll put that piece on first, and then we'll put this all back together. Okay, so let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to take that spacer off. Taking the bolt with the spacer off. There's the bolt, there's the spacer. There's the bolt, there's the spacer that goes on, and this piece goes in between it. So I'm taking that, moving that aside. Then we're going to push this guy in here somehow. See? So these two big bolts go there. Alright? So we put that in there like that. And then if I just move the mower, you see this round part here kind of goes over that bolt there. So that, and then these bolts line up here in the front. So I've got two bolts to put in there, and I believe it's those ones there. So we'll try to get them in. I think it's those ones, yeah. These are the 10 millimeters. So we'll put that 10 millimeter on there. This is going to be, you know what, okay, so now that I've got this on, let's see if we can't get this guy over. This has to come over like that. How did this go now? I remember that this was bolted on here somewhere. Okay, this is giving me a bit of trouble here, so I'm going to have to review. That's why I like to do the videos, because when I do the video, then I can go back and review when I took it apart to help me with putting it back together again. So I'm going to just take a quick minute to review how that came off. Okay, so I figured out how this goes. So basically, it's got like a washer on here. So when I had the problem putting it on, but this little guy, this little thing fits inside that slot. That's why it wasn't going. So when I took it off, it came out of that slot, and I wasn't sure how to put it back in. You just need to kind of get it in that slot, line up the hole here, put the bolt hole in there, and then that 8 millimeter has to go on there. So one of these 8 millimeters goes on there. So that's the 8mm. Put that on there. Put that on top. And we screw that guy back on. So that's on there. Okay. And then we're going to put the two 10 mils at the front here and at the back. So we're going to put those screw guys at the back here. Ready to line up. And there. I don't know if you can see that. I'll try to line it up here a little bit better. So it's one there and one there. I'm just doing this loose right now. I'm not tightening that up. It's kind of loose. Put these two in the front. One here. And one here. I've got them all loose now. I'll just kind of give them a bit of a turn. And just tighten it up like that, not too tight. There we go. Same thing down here. Give it a turn. That's it. Tighten that up. Go. Okay. Now. Okay, yeah, that will go on. I was just checking to see that that would go on good. Okay, so we make sure now this part goes on. So we've got a bolt to put on here and a bolt to put on there. There should be three. Somehow I've only got, and now this guy goes with the washer. So this guy's got to go in there. So let me go and find that other bolt first and see what's happened with that guy. Okay, well, I seem to be missing one of these little bolts here, so I'll have to find it. So for the meantime, I'll just put two of them on here. Put this one. That should hold this while I put that spacer in at the back there. So I've left this one off so I can put the spacer in at the back. So here's the bolt. There's the spacer, and just like I showed you earlier, this has to go in between there and there. And then put that guy all right up. Put that guy on there. Should do it by hand first so that I know I'm not stretching it. So if you put it on and it's not right, you gotta be able to feel that it's going on good. So there, I've got my spacer in, that looks good. And now it's going in okay. And if I can do it by hand tight, then I can put this guy ratchet on. And then just go the rest of the way with the ratchet. So there, that's on now. So that's our gas tank back on. That's okay there. And I have one more bolt left, so I'm wondering, so I can either put one here or one there. I think I'll put this one here, and I'll leave that one, I'll leave that one for later. Once I find that bolt, I'm sure I'll find it somewhere, because that really doesn't do anything. It's just kind of holding this front part. I'm sure it'll turn up, because I think when we took it apart, one of the bolts maybe got kicked under something in the shed. I'll go back there and find it. So we put that back on, we put that back on. Now it's a matter of getting this assembly back in. This is a bit dirty here. So I'll push that with a brush. Yeah, it's okay, it's going to get dirty again. So basically, that guy goes on here. but that's also an 8 mil. So throw it on, and here goes the screw from that guy. But first we're going to pop this in. So again, I'm missing a screw here. I got to put that on. That creates some problem for me. I'm going to fish my thing through there, and now this basically just clips on here. I think there was clips. Yeah. So there's one clip here, one clip there. Okay, so let me get my little Phillips. There's my Phillips, and I'll screw that back in to that assembly. There we go. Line it up. Same thing with this. Line it up. I'm going to try to pop these guys in. There's one, there's two, and that third one's a bit of a tricky one. I think it's the screw that's not in. So yeah, once I put the screw in, it's fine. Okay, so that's all in now. Again, I'm missing a screw here. When I find it, I'll put it back on, and then just slip this back on and reassemble this. Okay, so that's it. We've completed the disassembly and the reassembly in order to put our pull cord on. Now we've got our pull cord. Put that in here. There we go. We've got our pull cord, and we can see if we can give that a start now. See if it goes. There we go. So there you go. We just fixed a pull cord that was snapped, and it was a bit of work. Hopefully this will help you give you some ideas. It may not be exactly the same, your mower, and hopefully it'll be easier. But if you got a mower similar to this one, you can take it apart just the way I showed you following this video. Okay, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video and hope it helps. Bye. Thank you for watching.